Since Eric's death, we have learned and unfortunately are continually reminded that Kouri is desperate, greedy, and extremely manipulative. We have watched as Kouri has paraded around portraying herself as a living widow and victim while trying to profit from the death of my brother.
Kouri Richins' in-laws have been a strong presence in the courtroom ahead of her upcoming murder trial. And this morning, we're spotlighting her defense team's latest motion accusing her late husband's family of paying witnesses. Kouri Richins' legal team filed this motion making the claim that Eric, her late husband's sister, Katie, her name is Kouri Richins Benson, allegedly failed to comply with a subpoena asking for financial records for Eric's trust, which Katie now controls. Kouri Richins' defense team says in their motion that they want to gain access to copies of checks that were drawn out of personal or business checking accounts made payable to any individuals connected in any way to the investigation and or the prosecution of Kouri Richins. Okay. Now, her attorneys apparently did provide Richins' defense team with some of the requested documentation. So that's Katie's attorneys, the sister-in-law's attorneys. But they withheld much of what was being asked for. And they're saying that Kouri Richins has no right, no legal claim to what she's seeking here. So who's right here? Let's talk about it. Let's bring in someone that's been following this case and writing articles on it for us here at Court TV, our digital producer, Lauren Silver, back on the show. Lauren, good morning to you. All right, you read through the motion. Tell us the gist of it. Kind of give us the boiled down version of what's going on here with this request.
Well, even though they've been separated in court, it's impossible to take away the murder charges from these alleged financial crimes. She is accused of murdering her husband in part because she wanted access to this Eric Richins living trust that has millions of dollars in it. What she didn't know is that Katie, his sister, was made the executor and is in charge of this trust. So she has no access to it, especially while she's facing these charges. But she wants to have all the information about what's going on with this trust because she says that her sister-in-law is basically feeding the prosecution information and trying to incriminate her, even though she says she's completely innocent. So while they were given sort of a bird's eye view of all the financial documents, she wants an annotated every receipt, every check that's gone in and out, because she's saying that at least two people who were paid by the trust are now being listed as state expert witnesses.
That's interesting. Do you know in what regard, Lauren, what kind of experts we're talking about here?
So I did dig into them a little bit over the weekend because while they were mentioned at the preliminary hearing, that was a long time ago, and it wasn't notable enough then for me to have much background.
Sure.
So their names are Brooke Carrington and Matthew Throckmorton, not names we've heard before, really. And what I found on LinkedIn is that they both appear to be forensic accountants. So this all does appear to be tied into the financials, but my guess is that they were hired by the trust to look into what was going on inside the financials before all control was handed over to Katie. It doesn't say like what they found. Brooke Carrington was the previous expert. Matthew Throckmorton was brought in as the replacement. So they both functioned in the same capacity, one after the other.
Okay. And so, I mean, and really we know that just because they were paid privately, it seems, to do some work doesn't mean that it's a problem for them to be brought in a criminal case and subpoena. I mean, to me, that if somebody's in the know about something and has valuable information, you know, the state can subpoena them to come on. It doesn't also, we shouldn't assume they're being paid by the state either. We don't know that. So, Lauren, this is interesting. Has the court weighed in yet, or is this kind of fresh?
No, this is fresh. The Richins team has been filing several motions recently. We're not expecting her to go to trial until early next year on the murder charges. They did separate out the financial crimes. There's no date yet set for that. But she is also applying for bail again. You know, I believe it was last week we had the development where her defense team now says one of the witnesses has recanted and now says that he never sold fentanyl to the housekeeper, and that's allegedly the trail that led Kouri to the fentanyl that she used to allegedly kill her husband. So they're saying that the prosecution's case is completely fallen apart. She should be out on bail because she has been in jail this entire time, and it's been over a year now.
Right, Lauren. Yeah, we know she wants bail. Boy, this is fascinating. Thank you so much for digging into that for us and giving us the update this morning on these witnesses, and can't wait to see what the court says. Lauren Silver, thank you much. Let's bring in celebrity attorney. He has much experience practicing in the civil realm, Ben Chu, to weigh in on this. Ben, what are your thoughts on what Kouri Richins is saying here, wanting every bit of information that has to do with her late husband's living trust?
Well, hats off, I think, to Richins' defense team. I mean, they've already had witnesses, as Lauren just referenced, about the recantation of one of the key witnesses about her relating to the fentanyl. I think there is something here potentially with the sister-in-law. I mean, there was a violent incident between the two, and I think all of this is designed toward building on the argument of beyond a reasonable doubt. So I think they should keep pushing aggressively and try to influence the judge to weigh in and grant some of these requests.
Sure. The judge is going to have to make a big decision here as to what's discoverable, right, Ben? I mean, where do you draw the line there? If this was about money, as is alleged by the prosecution in Utah, and as Lauren noted for us, then perhaps she does have a right to see where money was going, and if people are coming into the courtroom, if they've received any funds, where's the substantiation that the funds are for legitimate work? What do you think? Do you think the court's going to be inclined to allow her to see what those checks were to those two expert witnesses?
I do, Julie. I think the court is going to err on the side of allowing discovery because that will lessen the possibility of a successful appeal in the event of a conviction. So if I were the judge, I would, even if he or she were not convinced of it, I would go ahead and allow the discovery.
Yes. Ben, you would make a great judge someday. I don't know if you have any of those aspirations, but you really would. So smart, so thoughtful, great insight.